Everybody in the world is talking about AI agents.
More AI agents than there are people in the world.
It's a swarm of agents.
There are these limitations to human bandwidth that maybe these agents won't have.
So think about this. Few years back, when the mobile devices became widespread, it led to the creation of some huge companies like Uber, Snapchat, WhatsApp, etc. And today, another paradigm shift is happening in the form of AI agents. This will pave the way for the next wave of massive companies. So the opportunity is going to be really huge. This video is designed for developers or anyone who wants to understand what's happening and how to get started. So if there is one key takeaway from this video, it should be the key concepts that will guide you in taking your first steps into the world of AI agents. I will walk you through some important concepts that you need to know so you can understand AI agents, how they work, and even how you can build one. My intention is to explain these topics in the easiest way possible so anyone can understand, even the ones without any background in AI. So the first thing, large language models or LLMs, the one thing that made everything possible. So think of LLM as the brain of an adult human. It has intelligence, it has knowledge about this world, it knows how to write programs, it even has the ability to understand and speak different languages. So how did it acquire all this knowledge? So LLMs are built or trained by being given a lot of text data from the internet. For example, public forums like Reddit, social networks, online articles, online books, research papers, pretty much everything. And also, the LLM can learn these things pretty fast, unlike a human who will take several years to do it. So the next thing is knowledge cutoff. We mentioned that the LLM is trained with real-world data from the internet. So this means it knows everything that has ever been published or discussed on the internet up to that date it was trained. For example, ChatGPT 4.0 was last trained in December 2023, so that means it doesn't know any events in the world happened after that particular period, and this is known as the knowledge cutoff. And the next thing is prompt. This one you already know, so I'm not going to explain much. So you interact with LLMs by providing some text instructions, and that is called a prompt. So the next thing is context window. Imagine you're talking to your friend and you're giving a lot of instructions all at once, and suddenly the friend goes like, oops, can you please slow down? I didn't catch all of that. LLMs also face a similar challenge. So they can only handle a limited amount of text in a single prompt. This is called the context window limit. It defines the amount of information the model can handle or remember in a single go. So the next thing is fine-tuning. Remember when we talked about the knowledge cutoff? So the model doesn't know anything new after it was trained. So how can we give the model new knowledge? There is a process for that. We take a model which already knows a lot and train it with new specific data to improve it for a particular process or just to give it new knowledge. This process is called fine-tuning. So this makes the model learn new things without having to start from scratch. But it is not always the best method if you want to update the knowledge of the model regularly, because it can really expensive, sometimes costing thousands of dollars. So that leads to the next topic called the RAG or Retrieval Augmented Generation. We just talked about the limitations of an LLM model, like the context window limits and also the knowledge cutoff and the problems in fine-tuning. So how can we make the model learn new things about our business or our use case? There's a process for that. So that is called RAG. In RAG, we augment our prompt with the right set of data that will help the model give us the right answer. For that, we will first use a separate service called the RAG service, and what this RAG service do is it will do a vector similarity search in a third-party database, where we have the specific knowledge for our use case. It will compare the prompt, the meaning of the prompt, to find fetch some specific information that might be useful for the LLM to take some decisions based on our prompt. So then that pieces of text is fetched from the huge database, and then your original prompt is augmented with this specific pieces of information, and then this combined prompt is fed into the LLM. So now the LLM has enough context to answer your prompt because you have already fetched the right set of information from your third-party database, instead of fetching the entire database, which will obviously exceed the context window limit. That is why this is called Retrieval Augmented Generation. So we are augmenting the prompt with relevant data from a huge data source and then feeding the LLM with this combined prompt with the actual data. So that is what is called Retrieval Augmented Generation or RAG. So the next topic is chain of thought. Imagine solving a complex math problem. So instead of jumping straight into the answer, you think through the steps one by one. First, you figure out what question is asking. Second, you break the problem into smaller parts and try to solve each part. Finally, you combine everything to get the answer. This process of thinking step by step is called chain of thought. Similarly, when we are asking a question to an LLM model, instead of asking it to give the answer directly, we can guide the model to think through the steps just like we do. So this makes the reasoning more accurate for the model, and this way the model can solve complex problems with more accuracy. The final topic called the AI agents. Now we have talked about almost everything related to LLMs, knowledge cutoff, how the LLM learns, how can we prompt, the limitations of the memory, and finally the chain of thought process. So with all these things, we can create something called a smart assistant, and that is called as the AI agent. Whenever an instruction is given, we let the AI agent make a plan on how to do that task. Instead of directly jumping into the task, it will make a plan. I have to split this task into multiple steps, and for completing each of the steps, I need to use a particular tool. For example, if you are building an appointment scheduling assistant, someone contacts the assistant and says like, okay, I need to get an appointment with this person. So then agent plans like, I have to first check the calendar for any free appointment slots, then wait for his confirmation, and then finally create the calendar invitation and send an email to the user. The agent is smart enough to split the task into these many steps, identify which tools are required to complete each of these tasks. For example, to check the appointment availability, the agent might have to contact Google Calendar API, something like that, and then finally he will schedule the calendar. And for sending the email, then he might be using a third-party email API, pretty much like a human assistant who has the intelligence to make plans and execute tasks. I hope you understood some of the basic concepts that are important to understand AI agents. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Once again, thank you, and we'll see you in another video. Bye bye.